President George Manneh Weah, who rode on a wave of popular support from mostly the country's disadvantaged population when he won the presidential elections in 2017, marks 2 years in office on this day.
We prophesy to you, you will rise, you will shine, you will prosper in Africa. Hear the word.
Fully aware of the high expectation of him, he plunged almost immediately into programs and policies that will ameliorate the lives of ordinary Liberians from the day of his inauguration. Here are some of what he's been able to achieve so far. 1. As promised during the campaign, he announced a 25% cut of his remuneration, a commitment he's kept so far.
In view of the very rapidly deteriorating situation of the economy, I am informing you today with immediate effect that I will reduce my salary and benefit by 25%.
This cut has tremendously been spent on other useful programs. 2. He's also cut the salaries for his appointed officials. In some cases, high-earning officials got a 50% cut in their salaries.
Well, it was a great meeting. The meeting was fruitful and rewarding. The meeting was to discuss the final budget for fiscal year 2018-2019. And during the deliberations, there were some new resolutions that were adopted by this government, and I'm very, very excited about those resolutions. Those resolutions are pretty much geared towards strengthening the pro-poor agenda. There were a lot of austerity measures that were taken today at the cabinet meeting. It was resolved that there will be a standardization of salary across our government, especially within the executive branch of government. So no longer will we have a member of the cabinet or a member of a autonomous agency or public agency make $10,000 or $15,000 in government.
This action has precipitated a similar cut by legislators, which is a remarkable accomplishment. It demonstrates all that was needed on this issue is just the political will to act. In the past, some officials made as high as $20,000. He's vowed this will not happen during his tenure. 3. He's halted the practice of doling out copious gas slips and scratch cards to most officials of his cabinet. In most cases, this served to widen the gap between the haves and have-nots and put unnecessary burden on the economy. 4. He declared a tuition-free policy at all public universities and colleges across the country. This is the first time it has ever happened in Liberia, and is a far cry from singling out a few individuals in an uncompetitive process to attend very costly institutions overseas. That money could have been better spent on scores, if not hundreds, of underprivileged students, which is what he's committed to doing.
I therefore declare free tuition for all undergraduate students at the University of Liberia as well as all other public universities in Liberia.
5. He's constructed new market buildings in many different communities, with some of them still going up. There are new marketplaces on the Old Road, Dupont Road, Rehab, Ganta Market, completed awaiting dedication, Omega Market, 85% completed, Banga, beginning, etc. 6. He's built housing units in impoverished communities, including Nuclear Town and some southeastern cities. Another major housing estate is commencing near the Camp Kesseley Barracks on the Rabosfield Highway. 7. He's refurbished the John F. Kennedy Medical Center, the country's largest referral hospital, including equipping it with some of the most modern utensils, such as MRI, CT scan, etc. Until recently, the GFK was bereft of these. 8. As promised, the new military hospital, which was built from ground up by this administration, will be dedicated on Armed Forces Day. The hospital will have hundreds of beds and is expected to cater to both civilians and the military. 9. He sent more than half a dozen Liberian doctors overseas to specialize in various fields of medicine for which we previously sent patients abroad to get treated. 10. He's paved hundreds of kilometers of neighborhood roads, including in communities which were previously neglected, such as Clara Town, Doe Community, Banjo, etc. There are also major road work ongoing on highways such as Ganta to Yekepa, prevailing on Asila Mittal, Sanikoli to Logato, and Ganta to Tapita to Zwedu, GOL working with international partners, Banga to Vonjaman to Guinea border, funding from Arab Bank for Development and others. 11. He secured a $50 million loan to begin the Coastal Highway, which is his signature development project. Actual work is expected to begin in early 2021. 12. Working with partners, he's brought in the country 45 new buses for the National Transit Authority and 5 new fire trucks for the National Fire Service. That NFS has never had more than 2 trucks at any time in its history. 13. He's procured modern hardware for the police and military to enhance their efficiency. 14. Re-roof scores of homes in the slum communities such as Gibraltar and Claratown, bringing relief to hundreds of poor families who were reeling from the rains. 15. He's lobbied with the legislature to ensure the passage of the K. Abdullah Kamara Act, which decriminalized speech offenses, so journalists in the country can now do their work unfettered. There's been no journalists in prison. 16. He's ensured Liberia's ascension to a program with the IMF worth $230 million to help resuscitate the ailing economy. More than $20 million of that amount has already been disbursed to the Liberian government. 17. Ensured through lobbying the passage of the Domestic Violence Bill, which had lingered in the legislature for years. 18. Signed $112 million grant agreement with the U.S. through the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, for programs in health, agriculture, education, etc. 19. Secure the commitment of the Chinese to build overhead bridges. 20. He ensured the refurbishment and brought back life to the historic Providence Island, as Liberia is named one of the best tourist destinations in the world. 21. Mandated the implementation of a harmonized pay system across government, which made nearly 15,000 government workers to have increases in their salaries, including those in the LIS, LNP, LDEA, AFL, etc.
Yeah, the world. Liberia, sweet land of liberty. We prophesy to you, you will rise, you will shine, you will prosper in Africa. Yeah, the world. Hallelujah. Come on, Liberia, rise up from your slumber and enlarge your book, for the day of your lifting has come. For favor shall embrace you from every angle, and your enemies shall see your lifting, they shall see your rising and bow. Hallelujah. Come on, join me, let's celebrate Jesus.